Your heart beats about 100,000 times a day and never once asks for a break. But when it is quietly straining to keep up, it starts sending signals, and most people hand every one of them to old age, or being out of shape instead. By the time they finally connect the dots, the heart has often been struggling for years. I am Dr. Hale. In my 15 years in internal medicine, I have watched this exact story play out more times than I can count. A person notices they are winded on the stairs they used to take easily. Their socks leave deep marks by evening. They are tired in a way sleep does not fix. Each thing, alone, sounds like nothing. I am just getting older. I need to get back to the gym. But your heart does not have a pain nerve that screams the way a broken bone does. It warns you softly, through your breath, your legs, and your energy. And learning to read those soft warnings is one of the most useful things you will ever do for yourself. So today I am going to give you 5 signs that your heart may be working too hard, the early signs of a heart that is starting to strain. I am going to explain what causes each one, in plain pictures you will remember. And I want to be clear up front. Most of what I cover today is a make an appointment soon situation, not a rush to the hospital tonight one. But there is one set of symptoms that is a true emergency, and I am going to draw that line sharply for you near the end, so you know exactly which speed you are dealing with. Stay with me for that, because it is the part that can save a life. Let me show you what is actually going on when a heart works too hard, because it makes all 5 signs make sense. Your heart is a pump. Its whole job is to push blood forward, out to your body and back again, in a smooth loop. Now imagine that pump has to work against high pressure in the pipes, or through arteries that have narrowed, day after day, year after year. Like any muscle under constant strain, it thickens and pushes harder to keep up. For a long time it succeeds, and you feel nothing. But eventually, an overworked pump starts to fall behind. And when a pump falls behind, the fluid it was supposed to move forward starts to back up. That backup, into your lungs and into your legs, is the source of almost every sign on this list. The symptoms are not random. They are what a struggling pump looks like from the outside. Let me take you through the 5. Sign number 1 is shortness of breath with light activity, not the honest breathlessness of a hard workout. I mean getting winded doing things that never used to touch you, climbing one flight of stairs, carrying groceries in from the car, making the bed. Here is the picture. When the pump falls behind, blood backs up into the lungs, and a little fluid seeps into the tiny air sacs where you breathe. Now your lungs are like a sponge that is slightly damp when it should be dry, and it is harder to move air through a damp sponge. So you feel out of breath doing ordinary things. The National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute lists this as one of the earliest and most common signs of a heart that is struggling. If light activity is leaving you puffing lately, that is your first clue. Sign number 2 is swelling in your legs, ankles, and feet. When the pump cannot keep the loop moving briskly, fluid pools where gravity pulls it, down in your lower body. Your ankles puff up. Your shoes feel tight by evening when they fit fine in the morning. Press a finger into a swollen ankle, and it may leave a dent that stays for a moment. Think of a garden hose with a weak flow at the far end. The water does not move on, so it collects and backs up. The American Heart Association points to this kind of swelling, especially in the legs and ankles, as a symptom worth reporting. Swelling has many causes, but when it shows up alongside breathlessness or fatigue, it is pointing at your heart. Sign number 3 is unusual, persistent fatigue. When the pump is not moving enough oxygen-rich blood forward, your body makes a quiet decision. It sends the blood it does have to the most important places, your brain and your vital organs, and it shorts your muscles. So your arms and legs run on less than they need, and everything feels heavier. Walking to the mailbox feels like a chore. You are tired in a way that a full night of sleep does not repair. This one is the easiest to blame on age or a busy life, which is exactly why it slips by. A new, unexplained fatigue that arrives with any other sign on this list deserves attention. Let me pause here for 1 second. If this kind of clear, honest health information is useful to you, subscribe to Dr. Hale. And tell me your age down in the comments. I read them, and knowing the ages of the people watching genuinely shapes what I make next. Now, the last two signs are the ones people most often feel at night, and one of them wakes people out of a dead sleep. Sign number 4 is a fast, pounding, or fluttering heartbeat. Sometimes when the heart is straining, it tries to make up for a weaker push by beating faster, the way a tired runner takes quicker, shallower steps to hold the pace. You might feel your heart race when you are just sitting still, or notice a flutter, a skip, a hard thump in your chest. An occasional flutter is common and often harmless, but a heartbeat that races or flutters often, especially with dizziness or breathlessness, is worth checking, because some of these irregular rhythms also raise the risk of stroke and have real treatments. Sign number 5 is waking up short of breath at night, or needing more pillows to breathe comfortably. This one is telling, and doctors take it seriously. Here is why it happens. When you lie flat, the fluid that was pooled in your legs all day gets reabsorbed and spreads back through your body, including into your lungs. During the day, gravity kept it low. Lying down, it moves in. So a person with a straining heart lies down, and an hour or two later the lungs are wetter, and they wake up gasping or feeling like they need to sit up to catch their breath. Many people quietly solve this by stacking 2 or 3 pillows or sleeping in a recliner without ever asking why they suddenly need to. The National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute and the American Heart Association both flag this, waking short of breath and needing to prop yourself up, as an important sign. If you have been adding pillows to breathe, that is a conversation with your doctor. Now let me tell you about someone. I will call him Walter. He is a composite of many people I have seen, not one real patient. 62 years old, retired, proud of staying active. He came in because his wife made him. His story was all 5 signs, though he had an excuse ready for each. Winded on the porch steps, must be out of shape. Ankles puffy by dinner, must be the salt. Tired all the time, well, he was retired, maybe just slowing down. A flutter now and then, probably too much coffee. And for the last month, waking at 2 in the morning short of breath and sleeping propped on 3 pillows, which he had decided was his old mattress. Each excuse was reasonable. Stacked together, they were a textbook picture of a heart falling behind. We checked his blood pressure, listened to his heart and lungs, and ran a few simple tests. His heart was strained, mostly from years of blood pressure he never knew was high. And here is the part I want you to hold on to, because he came in at this stage, and not 2 years later, he had real options. That is the hopeful truth about a straining heart caught early. It is not a lost cause. The American Heart Association is clear that treating the things that overwork the heart, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, and the daily habits around them, can take a real load off the pump and change how the years ahead go. Blood pressure is the biggest one. It is the most common reason a heart is forced to work too hard, and it usually causes no symptoms at all while it does the damage, which is why so many people have no idea their pressure is high until the heart starts to complain. You cannot feel it. You have to measure it. It also helps to know who is most at risk, so you can weigh your own odds honestly. A heart usually gets forced to work too hard by a familiar short list: high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes or blood sugar creeping up, extra weight, smoking, and a life spent mostly sitting, along with plain age and a family history of heart trouble. The American Heart Association returns to these same factors again and again because they are the ones that quietly load the pump year after year. If several of those describe you, that is not a reason to panic. It is a reason to get your numbers checked and start easing the load now, while your heart is still keeping up well. And the good news is that the first look at your heart is simple and nothing to fear. A doctor can take your blood pressure, listen to your heart and lungs for the sounds of backed up fluid, and run an electrocardiogram, which is just a few stickers on your chest that read your heart's rhythm in a couple of minutes. If needed, they may order an ultrasound of the heart, called an echocardiogram, which uses sound waves, no needles, to actually watch how well your heart is pumping. None of it hurts, and together these can reveal a straining heart long before it fails, at the stage where treatment does the most good. I want to be honest with you because honesty is the whole point of this channel. Every one of these 5 signs can have other, less worrying explanations. Breathlessness can be being out of shape or carrying extra weight. Swelling can be a long flight, a hot day, or a medication. A flutter can be too much coffee. One sign on its own is usually not a crisis. What should get your full attention is the pattern, several of them showing up together, especially breathlessness, swelling, and fatigue arriving as a trio. That combination is the one doctors watch for. So do not panic over one puffy ankle, but do not explain away a whole cluster either. So here is what to do this week. 1. If 2 or more of these signs describe you, call your doctor and make an appointment. Say plainly that you have been more short of breath, or swelling, or waking at night to breathe. Those words move you up the list. 2. Know your blood pressure number. If you do not know it, get it checked, at the doctor, at the pharmacy, or with a home cuff. It is the single biggest source of strain on the heart, and it is invisible without measuring. 3. Watch your legs and your sleep. Notice if your shoes are tighter by evening, or if you have quietly started needing more pillows to breathe. Bring those specific details to your appointment. 4. Ease the load with the plain habits that work. Go easier on salt, which holds fluid. Move your body most days, because a stronger heart handles its work with less effort. Keep your weight, your cholesterol, and your blood sugar in check. None of it is dramatic. Over years, all of it matters. 5. If you smoke, treat quitting as the biggest single gift you can hand your heart. Nothing else on the list comes close. Now the line I promised to draw sharply, because it could matter enormously one day. There are 2 speeds here. The slow signals, the growing breathlessness, the swelling, the tiredness, the occasional flutter, are reasons to make an appointment soon. Not to rush to the hospital tonight. But some things are a different speed entirely. Chest pain or pressure, a squeezing or heaviness in the chest, especially if it spreads to the arm, jaw, neck, or back, or comes with sweating, nausea, or sudden severe shortness of breath, can be a heart attack. That is not a wait and see. That is a call for emergency help right now. Do not drive yourself, do not tough it out situation. And one more thing that saves lives, especially women's. A heart attack does not always look like the chest clutching you see in movies. In women especially, it can show up as unusual fatigue, shortness of breath, nausea, or discomfort in the jaw, neck, or back, sometimes with no dramatic chest pain at all. If something feels seriously wrong, do not talk yourself out of help, because it does not match the movie version. Get checked. Everything I have given you today is education, not a diagnosis, and it is not a substitute for your own doctor. I do not know your history, your pressure, or your medicines. What I do know is that your heart tends to warn you softly before it warns you loudly, and the people who do well are the ones who listen at the soft stage. Walter did. He walked out with a plan and a lot of good years in front of him, because he came in while his heart was still asking nicely. Let me leave you with this. Today we listen to the heart itself, but the heart does not work alone. It answers to the pressure in your arteries, and there is a number that quietly drives all of it, one you can check in 60 seconds, that most people either do not know or do not fully understand. In my next video, I am going to walk you through blood pressure, what the two numbers actually mean, and the mistakes that make people read theirs wrong at home. Subscribe so it reaches you. Whether you are 45 or 75, your heart has carried you every second of your life without a single day off. Learning to hear it is how you help it keep going. I am Dr. Hale. Take care of yourself.